I still got to update my passport too, and I gotta get new luggage. I deserve that. I think I should probably get a new cloak because this one has a lot of holes in it. Are you writing this down, Caroline?
I am actually not writing this down, David. I have a plaster bucket in my hand because we decided to clean up this wall that Pickaxe Bill destroyed in our bunker just moments before. And the other reason I'm not writing it down is because as your assistant, I disagree with this line of action. I don't think we should be thinking about hunting more cryptids. I think we should be focusing on talking to the cryptids and, as your therapist said, learning about ourselves.
I do need to get one of those internet pucks, so while we are overseas, we can still do our Zoom meetings and without an issue. And probably should get more pen and paper because I don't know how expensive they are in Europe.
David, I'm going to say, hot take, I'm frustrated right now because in the blink of an eye, you've changed your whole feelings about feeling at ease with the world and learning about yourself. And now you're all like, cryptid, cryptid, cryptid again. And we've worked so hard on having you realize that you don't necessarily need to hunt cryptids. And we don't have another interview scheduled for a while. So I think we should really just focus on learning about yourself.
Nets. I'm going to be needing bigger nets. I know I can make them, but with this quick turnaround, I need a lot.
Do you hear something? Do you think the bunker's stable? Because I said that earlier, and now I disagree with what I said.
Yeah, it's built into the earth. There's nothing below it. I don't know how it can't be not stable.
Okay, well, you might think that it's stable, but I really feel like the ground is shaking. My LaCroix is jumping off its seat, and it really sounds like something's about to come through the wall.
I thought we only had one appointment today.
We do have one appointment. Okay, well, I guess we are just going to ruin my lungs today. That's okay. I didn't need them anyway. Sorry. Hi.
Hello, darling. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm wonderful. David, how wonderful it is to see you. It's been eons, darling. How are you?
One appointment. I thought we had one appointment today. I was not prepared for two.
David, I literally have no idea who this is. No offense. Hi.
No offense taken, darling. Dolores de la Montaña.
Yes. Hello, Delores. It has been too long. Not long enough.
Far too long, David. Tendraberry told me he was coming to visit, and I thought it was silly that I don't get to come to visit, so I followed him here, and now here I am.
Okay, so David, you know Delores, ...
Yes, this primordial whale is Delores.
Hi, Delores. I'm Caroline. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Caroline.
And so I really am playing catch up right now. Tell me a little about yourself. Where do you live? How long have you lived there?
As I said, dear, I know Tendraberry, and I followed him here, so I am also from Colorado. I'm a little south of where he likes to live. Mm-hmm. I am right outside a teeny tiny, the most delightful, quaint town you've ever heard of called Rico, Colorado.
Ooh, Rico. What's in Rico, Colorado?
Nothing, darling. Not anymore. It used to be mines, and there was a lot of lumber, but now it's just parkas and puffy coats and a lot of Patagonia.
Ah, yes, big coat comes to Colorado, huh? The coat industry is taking over, which makes sense because it's a chilly state sometimes, yes?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Especially in southwestern Colorado where I live, we get snow tall as mountains, just like me. But I'm not so concerned with the coat industry as I am with those wearing the coats.
Oh, what does that mean? You like tourists?
I do not like tourists, dear. They are awful, horrid creatures.
Well, you do like them in a very specific way.
Oh, do I, David? Are you alluding to something in particular?
Yes. She likes to eat them.
You eat tourists? Oh my gosh, dangerous.
For the tourists, dear. But you see, I was there first.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I can only see your head because you're in a hole in our wall, but you seem to be like a little giant whale woman. You know, you've got these tiny little eyes, but they're beautiful, just so you know. You got this giant mouth full of gnashing teeth. I assume you have flippers and a tail somewhere back there.
I certainly do, though they're more ornamental than anything these days.
Because you're a land whale.
I'm more than that.
Oh, do go on.
Well, you see, Where I live used to be an ocean, so I used to be a whale, and then the environment changed, and I guess you could say I'm a land whale, but I like to think that I'm an innovator, dear.
You kind of just evolved with your changing environment. You're kind of like an adaptation queen.
I had to. Adaptation queen, I love that. But it was a necessity, dear. Now I utilize gravity more than anything.
And how do you utilize gravity?
Well, you see, darling, I have this nifty little hook on my tail, which I wrap around the very tippy top of the mountain. And I lay there in wait for unsuspecting passers-by. Once I release myself, I come hurling down the mountain, gobble them up, and gravity and the inertia created by it sweeps me up to the opposing mountaintop, and we start the process all over again.
Wow, there's nothing that doesn't make sense about that. That totally checks out physics-wise.
She's like the Tony Hawk of cryptids.
How kind of you to say, David. Now, who is this Thomas Hawk?
Oh my gosh, you looked familiar. Like I said, your eyes, I've seen them hauntingly in David's dossier files. You're what he has written down as called the slide rock bolter. Is that like what you would call yourself as a species?
A species, darling. No. There's no one quite like me. But for the sake of brevity, it is an apt description.
I mean, she does slide down the rocks at bolting speed, so I think it's fair I should call her the slide rock bolter.
Yeah, and I totally agree. Like everything about you seems like a sliding, rocking, bolting whale woman living above the Rockies. There's nothing about that seems superfluous or like it doesn't actually happen, you know?
Well, wonderful, because here I am. I am real. I'm right here.
And I'm just like trying to wrap my head around this still. So Tundra Berry just left and he's your friend. You guys are Colorado buddies. And so you have been a Colorado gal for as long as Colorado's Coloradoed, right?
Long before, too, dear. You see, I predate Pangea. I predate Laurentia. I was there at the beginning, dear. I was first in line.
And what do you think about how the world's shaped up since then?
There's too many people.
And what do we do with too many people?
We eat them, dear.
And this is why I need to get back to hunting.
David, I think what is useful here is not to just ask Delores how she eats people, but why she eats people. You have to ask more than one question to get to know somebody.
Yeah, David.
I'd have everything I need to know. It's a giant whale that sits on the mountain. First off, how do you not see a whale sitting on a mountain? Besides the point, it's a giant whale sitting on the mountain that uses gravity, once again, to slide down and eat people. That's all I need to know.
What do you expect me to do, David? Look at the size of me. Am I supposed to stroll into the local subway and get a sandwich? No. I have to use the gravity. I have to avail myself of the tools that I can use. And it is not my fault that people are often stupid.
I'll agree with you on that.
Thank you, darling. See, you've always been even-keeled and minded. However, I do want to talk about the last time we met, dear.
Yeah, to be honest, before you burst in here, I thought you were dead. See, Caroline, this cryptid, I assumed was the only one that I had killed successfully. But as you can see, very much alive.
So you've been doing this job for how long? And you've only successfully/unsuccessfully killed one cryptid, but you still want to keep doing this job?
See, as we said with Tundra Berry, it's the thrill of the hunt, the rush of the chase, the eye of the tiger, the spike of the cryptid.
So, okay. But then what did happen last time you ran into Delores?
I'm so glad you asked, darling. See, David here played a very dirty trick on me for no reason at all.
David.
There was a reason.
Besides the fact that I had been eating people, but as we've established, it is a necessity for me. You see, he stuffed a decoy and dressed it in that terrible garb that the tourists swell, but it was actually stuffed with dynamite. So when I swallowed the yummy morsel whole, it exploded within me. It was dreadful.
Oh, that must have been like the worst heartburn.
It was the worst heartburn, but as you can see, I'm still here. So shoddy work, David.
I was working on a limited budget, and They don't make TNT like they used to.
The mines hadn't really panned out for you the way you expected.
Oh, miner. No, dear, he was a dreadful miner. He had been sawing logs when I met him.
Oh, so you turned into Lumber Dave instead of Miner Dave.
Well, wooden stakes don't just make themselves, actually.
Well, that must have been really hard for you as a whale woman when David tried to blow you up. Like, how did that make you feel?
It was, darling, it was, especially because I take great care selecting who is going to be my next meal. You see, I realize that not all of these humans are created equal. Take our David here, for instance. But just as the humans will thin the herds of their deer and elk all over our great state of Colorado, I too had a responsibility to keep the worst of the worst, the riffraff, out of my backyard.
So, like, how do you pick your victims or your meals, I'll say, because we don't want to call them victims because that's uncomfortable.
Oh, yes, I'm very selective, you see. Not all of the people who join us in southern Colorado to enjoy the beauty and the splendor are as respective of that land as I deem required. So, if you are egregiously littering or damaging the beautiful landscape or being excruciatingly loud when I'm trying to hear the breeze through the trees.
And you've, like, this has been the only home you've ever known for longer than any of us have been around, so I'm sure you're very, like, protective of the environment and the splendor of the natural beauty.
Have you seen the Rocky Mountains, darling?
No, I haven't left the bunker in 3 years.
Caroline, you've been my assistant for only 6 months.
Fascinating. Well, anyway, David, I'm here for my overdue apology.
Apology for what? I was protecting the people of southern Colorado.
I do that, David. And are you sitting there trying to convince me that you can do it better than me? I'm as old as the dirt, darling. I've been there the entire time.
I like to think I'm pretty good at it.
David, you were a terrible miner and a subpar lumberjack at best. Don't get me wrong, darling. I certainly appreciate all the work you've put in and all the good that you do. However, I don't think I deserved my treatment for just doing my job to the best of my ability.
See, Caroline, I did do good.
Well, I don't know, like, if you've ever seen the video of a whale blowing up on a beach, it doesn't work well for anyone, and it actually causes lots of blubber to rain down on the population, and it can decimate towns. So what really was your angle with blowing up a whale?
Yeah, David, it's an ecological disaster.
And you know, David, now that I think about it, when we were talking to Daggy, you were like really like being so harsh on that guy you hired to catch Daggy on his use of dynamite. So it seems really like hypocritical of you now to be outing yourself as a dynamite user in the past.
See, that was before Daggy, though, and that was me using the dynamite, not somebody else.
David, you can't use excuses every time someone catches you in a lie. You do this all the time. You did it when we had pizza night, and you said, I want anchovies, and then you decided you didn't want anchovies, and you're like, Caroline, you got anchovies. I don't eat anchovies, but I had it written down. You always change the narrative, and like other people listen and are there, so we know when you're doing this. So I think with me and with Delores, you just have to be honest with yourself and kind of maybe you're the monster cryptid of southern Colorado and it's not Delores.
How can I be a monster? I'm not the one that's sliding down mountains eating people.
Monster. I hate that word, monster. That word didn't exist when I was born, you see, David. That's a your kind creation. So where do you get off telling us that we're the monsters when you ravage our forest and cut down our trees and eat the animals that I protect? Who's the monster then, David?
I guess it's all a matter of perspective, you know? Like everything in this world, we all see it through a different lens. And I kind of admire the fact that when you have no choice, right? Like you have to eat.
Not a choice at all, darling. Not one.
And humans were just everywhere. Like we said, overpopulation, like under birth controlling, everyone's everywhere now. And so if I were in your position, I too would choose bad humans if I had to eat humans at all. It's not personal, it's just business kind of.
Coexistence is about balance, darling, you see. Something that I have metaphorically but not physically. It's all about balance.
And so we can't, like, there's no way to stop what you have to do. This is just your lot in life. This is just who you are.
I would like to see you try. It's like stopping a landslide.
Look, I'm not going to apologize for trying to blow you up. Now I do understand who you are and what you have to do. And I think that you should understand who I am and what I have to do. And, I got to protect people.
That's right, David. As I said, balance. I am not an unreasonable whale woman. I'm sure there's a compromise here.
Yeah, and we're all about balancing and finding compromises. Like, part of my favorite thing to do at work is, like, figure out a way that makes everyone happy with everything, And I personally, as a human, I understand that, like, there's too many of us, but I don't love the idea that as a tourist, I could be in Colorado and you might eat me. Like, I'm sorry. That's just how I feel. So maybe there's a way that we kind of figure out what types of humans should be eaten, Like, who can we do without?
Well, if it's all the same to you, David, I'll stick to those who endanger the forest, you see. I've grown quite fond of it. So that is anyone who litters, those people that carve their names into tree trunks, and gender reveal parties gone awry.
I think that works. And I'll throw in crypto bros because they're just insufferable.
Well, thank you, David. What a snack.
Okay, so I think, like, I'm okay with those people being eaten too. So I think we've reached a good, like, medium for everyone. And so I guess I just have a few more questions for you, Delores. Like, what have you been up to lately? And kind of what does the future hold for you?
When you've been around as long as I have, I'm much too old for new hobbies, dear.
Mm-hmm.
I like to bask in the sun and enjoy my backyard as I always have. So I wouldn't say there's anything new for me. Just making sure that where I live is as safe and protected as possible, dear.
You can't teach an old whale new tricks, right?
No, darling, not at all. Not that I would want to learn anything new anyway.
So, David, before we let Delores go, do you have anything else to say to her?
Yeah, there are some quote-unquote tourists on the south side of your mountain. They're not tourists, they're more TNT. So I'd avoid those.
Oh, David, you scamp. Isn't he just the best? Funny you should say something, though, David. I am going uphill for quite a while, so I think I might need your help.
What do you need us to help you with?
I don't know. You don't have, like, some fashion giant slingshot in this bunker of yours, do you?
I think we sold the giant slingshot last week. David,
I do have some more explosives.
would you be game to try?
As long as we're on the same team this time, David.
Of course.
Okay, Delores, ready?
As ready as I'll ever be, darling.
3, 2, 1. Thanks for listening. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
And please tell your friends. Therapeutic as Folklore is produced by Caroline Schaeffer and Davide Songne. Special voice talent by Rylee Caldwell.